So, what can we do? Well, the first question I want to ask is not ask what we can do, but what you can do. It's not just what others can do for you, but starting to think about all the things. I want us to start to think about people, yourselves. There's not many people who've just got needs and expect the doctor to fix them. But I want you to say, I'm actually an expert doc. I actually can do what you just said, and I can sort out the runny nose without going to the doctor all the time and rushing off everywhere. And these are the things that I'm doing. So before you start to think, I want to book an appointment, it's what can I do? Can I do anything more than I've already got? And that comes to this idea of self-care. Have you heard that term? No? This idea of you being able to look after yourself. So, what are the kinds of things that you've got in your house, now that the winter period winter's coming, that can help you to look after you and your family more?
Vicks.
Vicks. You've got Vicks.
Painkillers, paracetamol.
What painkillers have you got? Paracetamol. Okay.
Honey lemon.
Honey and lemon.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. Anything else? If one of your children falls over and cuts themselves? Plasters.
Bandages.
All the first aid things.
Excellent. So there you are. You see, you've done my job for me. Self-care. You've got it all. And making sure you've got enough of those things. Sometimes it's more important. Like, for instance, if you've got a child with salbutamol, making sure that you've got a spare blue inhaler so you don't run out. That's part of self-care. So that you don't run out in the middle of the night and then start panicking. And
Can you actually buy the inhalers?
No, you have to get it on prescription.
You shouldn't. You should go from the GP. Yeah, you should go from the GP. The official line is come to the GP.
Oh,
but the important thing is self-care does not mean no care. Some people think, oh, the doctors are being really difficult by saying you can look after yourself because they don't care. That's not true. It's actually because we want you to do more for yourself as much as you can. Okay. Develop your own skills and knowledge. So hopefully, if you haven't got the Savlon, if you haven't got the ibuprofen in the house, if you haven't got the Calpol and winter's coming, I want you all to go to the chemist and get those things, because we learn from each other, and make sure you've got those things prepared. Go and have a look in your cupboard, because you might think you've had it, and you suddenly find that your children or your husband's been taking all the paracetamol and it's run out. And then when you really need it, it's not there. So make sure you're stocked up and ready as the winter is. Learn about the team that can help you. So Catherine just mentioned that there's this paramedic. So if any of you are from Brook Surgery and you don't know what the paramedics are all about, then you've got an opportunity to ask Catherine. You've got an opportunity to ask the reception staff. Maybe there's posters and things to try and of course Roxana. Maybe there's messages up there. Maybe you've got a PPG and you can go along to the PPG and find out more. So the patient participation group, to find out more about what this paramedic is and what they do and what kind of things they're useful for, because they're now part of your team. Okay, and the more you can understand the team, you'll then start to say, I don't need an appointment with the GP, but I do want it with that paramedic or that nurse or pharmacist or whoever it might be. Ask questions in the right forum and the right place. I'm so pleased today that not one of you has complained about anything, because I thought you were all, I want to complain about this, I want to complain about that, but actually this wasn't a forum for complaining. If you want to complain, there's a complaints procedure, go to the practice manager and write it. Actually, don't go to the practice manager, they're really stressed. Yeah, we don't want that. But actually, let's come with an attitude of wanting to learn rather than wanting to complain. And it's great because when people watch the video and go, look, there's a group of people here who wanted to learn, they didn't want to complain, they want to find out stuff. So, but there are different places for different, and find out what those places are, where you can go and you can get your voice heard. Learn about your appointment system. So you mentioned the different appointment systems. Yes, of course I can talk to you about our appointment system, but actually it's not really about ours. You know, you're in your surgeries and you need to find out. If you don't know your appointment system, if you don't understand it, go along to your patient participation group and raise that question and say, can you please explain what the appointment system is? How is it supposed to work so that it works for you rather than against you?
Do you not think if you had an open surgery type of appointment system that it would work better because people wouldn't miss as much appointments?
Not really,
They'd
because
just
you've got
look
open
at
surgery in Donnybrook and
you stand in a queue.
yeah, the queues leaving.
Do all
Would be
surgeries have
helpful,
patient
You
participants?
wouldn't miss any appointments when you need it.
Look, they only see
Yeah.
certain
There's like limit.
Does Donnybrook Medical Centre have it? Because we don't know.
Yeah, they do.
Do they have
3
it?
days a week.
Yeah.
No.
Patient participants?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I'm on about the open day surgery.
They do. It's encouraged certainly for everyone.
It's definitely encouraged. At Donnybrook they
Yeah.
did have one. I think changes happen, things get fallen by the side, but maybe as part of today, one of the actions for you, in order to get appointments and things, is to go to Donnybrook and speak to Lynn Wilkinson, who's the practice manager there, or Louise Brady, who's the nurse there, or Dr. Prabhan, who's the one of the GPs there. And that's just a few names. It
Would
could
you
be
need to make
anybody.
an appointment to go and see them all?
Do you know what I would do is write a letter, maybe, and just
Yeah.
write a letter to Lynn.
Just
and-
call Lynn.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
Lynn Wilkinson, the practice manager, and say, we've been to a meeting, is there a PPG, can you tell us? But not just, is there a PPG, if there isn't, can we help to set
Can we
one up?
set one up?
Set one
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
become a
that's a good
resource.
idea.
Instead of just
Yeah.
saying demanding, say, look, I'd like to try and set something up, and if you don't know how to, ask. As Catherine has said, there's a PPG at Brook Surgery. We've got a PPG here as well. You're more than welcome to talk to our PPG members and find out what it's all about, and then you try and set one up yourself, if there isn't one there. I think there is, but I'm not sure how active it is, and it might be that you come along and say, we'd like to help.
That'd be great.
Yeah? Okay. Learn about the different places to get healthcare. This is a big issue because I think at the moment everyone expects your GP surgery to be the only place where you can get healthcare. And actually there are walk-in centres, there's out-of-hours services. As I said, there's the extended access clinics that are in the hubs. Yes, there is A&E, but A&E really is for accidents and emergencies. And at this moment in time, I suggest that you don't go to A&E unless it's absolutely life-threatening. And then, of course, there's the internet, and there are safe places to go on the internet. So it's not just about going to physical places. And then there's 111, the telephone-based service, where you can ring up anytime, 24/7, and speak to a nurse. So lots of places, but people aren't aware of these things, where they can go. But ultimately,
What is it, 111 for
Yeah,
to talk to a
111.
nurse as well?
Yeah.
yeah.
You know that.
Did you
Yeah,
not
then
know
they
that?
refer you, like they'll tell you to go.
Okay,
Mhm.
and you're a very well-spoken, very, you are, I'm going to put you in the top 1% of our patient population.
I've used it for my children.
And you don't know. So there's knowledge here, isn't there? So you're learning about something, you know. So 111, what is it? What's it all about? And maybe we need to think about raising awareness of what 111 is, so that people are aware of that. So yeah, 111. And you can ask them any question. If you need a dentist and you haven't got one and you don't know where it is, or if you need a pharmacy and you don't know which one's open and which one isn't, just dial 111. They'll tell you. Weekdays, evenings, bank holidays, any time at all. They'll advise you about self-care, the things that you can do. So if you're not sure, do I need to see the doctor or don't I? Give them a call, they'll give you advice, and they'll tell you whether they think you need to go to a pharmacist or whether you need to come to the GP surgery or whatever. No, sorry, I forgot, but pharmacies, very, very helpful. You don't need an appointment, they're open very long hours. You can always turn up there. If the pharmacist thinks they need to see a GP, they'll redirect you. And of course, if you then turn up at the reception staff saying, look, the pharmacist has told me, then that just gives you a bit more credibility, doesn't it? You know, and then you know you've tried it.
I think accessing healthcare on the internet sometimes can be a bit dangerous if you're not on the correct site. So it might be worth saying that we would sort of recommend NHS Choices or Patient UK.
Yeah,
It's another good site, isn't it?
the other one, of course, is our own practice website, and I'm going to show you ours in a moment, because you've got links on your website
Yeah.
that are up-to-date information and things. And remember that what people want to know is what's available in Hyde.
Yeah.
That's what you want to know. You know, anyone can go to Wikipedia and find the national stuff. So in general, I had a patient this week who was asking about bronchiolitis, which is can be a serious condition in young children, and she wanted to know more about that. Well, there isn't a Hyde version of bronchiolitis and sort of an England version. It's bronchiolitis. So there are national websites you can go to, but increasingly people are wanting to know, well, what's available here. So there's a bit of both.
Is everyone okay if we take a picture? Are you okay?
Oh yeah.
We just wanted to put it on our
Yeah, yeah.
Facebook page, is that okay?
Okay, so I'm going to, do you know, it's
You just carry
25
on
past,
and
so
I'll just
I'm
take
going
it.
to try and speed through things. Learn English as a second language. We ran an ESOL course with Hyde Community Action because the best place to be is where you as an individual are not reliant on other people, because you have a voice and you can speak. So I would still recommend that the best place to be is for you to learn English if you don't know how to, improve your English skills so that you can understand things, you can say things yourself rather than having to go through a third party. But I recognise that is going to take time. I've been a GP 17 years and I still haven't learned Bengali. So I'm terrible. So in that regard, and it's difficult. And if that's the case, then what's the next best plan? The next best plan is how to book a translator. Now then, someone's asked, how do we do that? It's very simple. You contact the GP surgeon. Well, I'll tell you what we do at Thornley House, and Catherine, you can confirm whether this is true at yours. But at Thornley House, You come to the front desk and you explain, I'd like a Bengali speaking translator. You need to book a time and a place. Ideally, they need 3 days notice for an appointment. So it needs to be 3 days hence. Sometimes, occasionally, they might be able to do one the same day. But it means that they've got to try and get translators to come here, and that's not always possible. So in general, it should be 3 days hence. I appreciate that at Thornley House, because it's telephone consultations, you might get the whole difficulty of, but how do I get a translator if it's a telephone consult? We will remind our reception staff that if you don't speak English, it's a translator. It needs to be a face-to-face appointment. But it's 3 days hence, unless there's something really urgent. Okay. Is that the same? Yeah.
What is this that they're advertising on the TV? Like, it was like an elderly person talking to the doctor on Skype.
Yeah.
Is that happening now?
Yeah. It is
That's
happening.
actually happening.
It's not happening here in Hyde at the moment. But if I was to sort of put the crystal ball there, I would not be surprised if something like that suddenly starts happening within the next few months.
And then they get their medicine delivered to the door.
They,
That was the
That's
whole
fancy.
thing.
they
Times you talk to the doctor and then they deliver it, and I was like,
You've got to
that's
go.
brilliant.
I have to go to pick
Thanks
my
very
son
much.
up.
I've recorded it so you'll be
Yeah,
able to
he
listen to it.
finishes
So,
at school early. Sorry.
so
Nice to meet everybody.
there are coming.
See ya.
Remember that there isn't a magic bullet. Everyone wants a doctor on the phone immediately.
Yeah.
And what you find is that when you start reading the small print, you suddenly start to find lots of exclusions and lots of reasons why they won't take certain people and everything. And so, yes, it's coming. Yes, there will be certain groups of people who will think it's amazing, but it's not the be-all and end-all at the moment. At least I believe that I don't want to be a digital doctor that's sat on the internet all the time, because actually I think this is much nicer where you see the whites of the eyes. There are times when you do need a doctor to actually feel your tummy and listen to your chest. And putting a telephone next to your chest isn't quite the same thing. So there are problems with it, but there's definitely advantages, and for some people it is the right thing for them. But again, if you're not sure, think about it, talk to your doctors, talk to your nurses, talk to people in the community about that. It's coming. Okay, it's not here now, but I know it's going to come.
Yeah.
Okay, more services and information are going online, so it's starting to look at where they are, but as Catherine quite rightly pointed out, just because it's online doesn't mean it's the gospel truth, and so you still need to be aware of where things are that are safe to look at. Learn how to order prescriptions, book appointments, view and share your electronic health records. For those practices that are doing it where it's being offered, it's not for everybody, not everyone is doing it completely at the moment. We'd like to think more and more people can do that. You should all be able to order prescriptions and book appointments. The viewing and sharing of electronic health records, I'd like to think we're going to start to develop that over the next 12, 18 months.
We're looking at doing a campaign, all the Hyde practices in February for that.
So look out, February, we want you to get involved in that and help us to develop the campaign materials so you can go out there and talk to everyone about it. So when you're going to weddings and parties and, dare I say, funerals and going to the mosque and everything, just tell everyone what's
Get
happening.
your children on there.
Yes, well, we do.
Yes.
And we're going to standardise hopefully the processes across all the 5 practices. Because that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want all the practices in Hyde, whichever practice you're at, I want you to get the same services as best as you can. We've been doing it for 13 years now. We know how to do it with children. But we've got to work with you and make sure it's safe and things. Okay. Get a better understanding of your healthcare needs, because that's really what it's about. Not just being able to say what the doctor said, but actually do you understand what's going on? Share your knowledge with us. Don't just hold it on. Everything that you've learned today, don't just keep it with you. That's why we're recording the video, so that you can then stick it on your Facebook page and say, hey, listen everyone, watch this, and you can find out how you can get an appointment with your GP. Feedback, we really are desperate for you to tell us what works and what doesn't. It's the only way we're really going to learn. Otherwise, me sitting there thinking this is great and you're thinking that's just rubbish doesn't really help. So we really want feedback, and we genuinely say that. I don't know, Catherine, if you want to.
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
Is that what we said before about complaints? That complaints do have the place, because if you don't know that something's broken, you don't fix it, do you? So I don't mind negative feedback at all.
And Roxanne, do you want to say anything about that, or it's been said?
Yes.
Join the PPG, so great. If you haven't joined it, then I want you to join it. And if you don't know where it is, contact your practice. And I'm going to put in there also, it's not just about what the surgeries are doing. The voluntary organisations in the community are really important. I've just put 3 there: Hyde Community Action, Newton Women's Group, is that right?
Yeah.
Great, so I hope you're pleased that I put that.
Yeah.
Did this at 5 in the morning. Brain was and Bangladeshi Welfare Association, but there may be other groups as well, okay? And I think it's really, really important that you join them, we find out about you, so we want you to, if you're from Newton Women's Group, tell us what you're doing. If you've got minutes, if you've got events coming on, tell us about it, because we can then disseminate it amongst our doctors and nurses and maybe encourage people to do that. And not just, what we don't want is just for you to be just thinking about what your community is doing. Let's try and join things together so that we've got a sprinkling and a mixture of different types of people, so that we understand and we appreciate. Even if you're not agreeable with it, why can we not have gay and lesbian people sat next to us on the same table talking about the issues that they're experiencing? Because although their issues might be different to ours, they might be just as lonely as we are.
Yeah.
Okay? And the learning is, how can we learn from each other? Because there might be things that they've figured out that can help you, and there might be things that you've figured out that can help them. So it's about trying to, and I'm very keen on that, so that we start thinking about Hyde community as a neighbourhood and what can we all do together to support each other. We talked about lifestyle and improving lifestyle. Have you heard of Be Well Tameside and Active Tameside?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic organisations, voluntary organisations that are supported by the NHS and the council and things. Get in there, take people to the events and activities that they're doing. Chapati and Chat, I forgot about that. Has anyone heard of that?
No.
Okay.
It was nice to know that.
Oh, yeah.
So Chapati and Chat was done by the lovely ladies in Oldham called the Chai Project. Do you know about the Chai Project?
Najma, she came on the
Yeah. Do you want to tell us something?
well, it's just that's their group. I mean, she's giving out these free cookery books. So all their volunteers.
To make it healthy.
Yeah.
So these are ladies who've either got diabetes, or their husbands or their families have got diabetes. And up till now, they've been hearing about all the tablets that we can give, and they were being told that actually if you change your diet and cook in a certain way that's more diabetes friendly, it prevents diabetes and helps your diabetes to get better. So they went away, learned how to do it, and they've wrote this lovely book that shows how to cook it. So if you just pass it around.
We've got these. We've got giving out.
It's even got a menu how to do it in a healthy way.
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. You can download it as a PDF, so you can stick it on your practice website and promote it to patients. And it's just an amazing picture, and again, an example of what you can do to help. And I can tell you now, that will have more impact than anything that me and Roxana can do.
The little changes that you make at home, yeah.
You know, it's really, really good. And then, are you on social media? Do you use Facebook, Twitter, and all the rest of it? Because then you can start spreading the messages around. And then let's ask others, and then perhaps meet again sometime in the future if you feel in a few months' time how things are going, and if you want to know more.
Yeah.
Okay.